give you Onesimus
as a token
that
you're the husband of my choice.
you're the husband of my choice.
My name is Doris.
Fellowship leader.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, the ladies fellowship leader. But then we broke for an important
this person prior before he comes to ask or propose, that is, so that I will not be confused and tell this person, let me go and pray, and I will give you an answer.
Make it public.
Very tricky.
I think that was very
Yeah.
one of the most tempting season and period. Also, during the campus life, this is a chairperson who oversees the activities of the Christian Union. And by the way, our campus had this culture that there is no relation. I think because of the past experiences, that the chairman and members. So when there's, we try to keep it as secret as possible.
Yeah, including one of the days we went with the executive team for a meeting outside, but we couldn't afford to tell them because we didn't know how to handle the reactions, having no notice to happen previously. And then also, when you would be seen with the chairperson, of course, the opposite gender in a campus, people will just think, and they would say, seems like there's something in between.
Something cooking.
Yes. But we couldn't also completely eliminate it because we would be found after the morning glory, we would be working together. We used to live on one of those gates we used to call Gate C. So you would be found together, maybe walking out, or sometimes you're talking about something in open places. So we couldn't conceal it for so long, but along the way, we got our people through the church where we fellowship today at Grace Chapel International, who became very good friends to us, and they helped us on how to go about that without bringing also a friend to my parents. So that removed a lot of hostility on sometimes when a parent maybe feels you're coming to take our daughter, or it's like a stranger who's taking our daughter. Because of course after that, several times he came for events at home. Sometimes maybe you have a relative who has passed on. He would make an effort and come oftenly, or we have an event for someone, he would make an effort and come. So most of my relatives knew him. When we went ahead to request our parents that would be having dowry and negotiation, and especially because our parents come from far, from Siaya, you would imagine that would be a whole day's journey. I remember we had to make a special request to them that would do those things in one day. Back in church, I would say we got a lot of support in terms of dowry preparation. He had some men who really helped him to plan for the same, incorporate the parents, to be able to fit in the culture. Of course, when you're coming to from Luo land to come to get a lady from Kikuyu, they will not do what they do at their place. They will have to come and do what Kikuyus do. So the coming in of, we call them pillars, from church helped a lot to be able to bring in together the culture and help the parents to blend, and our parents also to accommodate and also be able to feel that it's still their culture. The wedding day was quite good. Maybe we start from where I was. I came from home. That is, we are along Thika Road. No, Nyeri Nairobi highway. Just very near the highway. So that's where the team that had worked with us all through since Rurashio, even prior during our relationship, we used to work with our people. So that team and others that were mobilized, they came for me from home, accompanied by the parents. And the wedding was taking place at Tendegwa, Kiambu Road. And we got there in good time, around 10:30. We had happened to wake up very early. And we had also a very supportive team. That's where the reception and the officiation happened. We did it at one place.
For us, it was entirely in church. Yes, both the officiation, reception, and everything.
The highlight was when he sang for me. It was a Luo song, but he had translated it to me earlier. For me, I would say the highlight was when he sang for me. It was a Luo song, but he had translated it to me earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I was looking forward to that day and the moment that I will make those vows to her, and the declaration that Pastor made, now husband and wife. Honeymoon. Now we
It's very difficult for a couple to go along. When you stick with, this must happen like this, he says, this must happen like this. So be very open-minded, but not very close to that things must run in a certain way. It also gives you a platform to learn and grow, actually. You realize as you learn, you grow, and you become a better person than the one you were.
And I think just to add on that one, there are this thing people call couple goals. And so you find people posting, these are the ones, people doing social media. Actually, it's a very, it's a good place, but again, it's a very dangerous place. Now, what do I mean by this? There are times you see a couple, like they're posting their success. And so you come into marriage and feel like, yeah, I think mine will also be like success, 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 success. Mm-hmm. Well, we pray for success, and we always wish that that is what happened to everyone. But then success of time bound, success, there work to be done on it. But then, yes, they have to be smart, all right? And God helps you. As you walk the journey, you ought to be patient. You ought to be ready to just to listen to the God's direction, even in your marriage, and let your marriage be your marriage. Let it not be the Pesas, Onesimuses. No. The Lord will help you in that, your marriage, to make it how He wants it to be. What I like about my wife is that she likes
the way you listen to me, even when I feel that we need to address something, I feel I have audience, and not only audience, but also the actions afterwards. And that makes me feel that I'm adding value to your life, and it also makes me to think and ask myself whether the things I tell you are helping you or misleading you, which I wouldn't want to happen, and or are making you a better person, as I look forward to seeing you become better and better every day.
Thank you. And that is our love story.
Yes.
My name is Linda Adisa. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I'm the founder and the head makeup artist at Beauty Farm Kenya, where we give services for makeup for bridal, ratio, photo shoots, birthday glams, and we also offer personal and professional makeup classes, and we also retailing makeup products from the UK, from Europe, from Korea, from the USA. So makeup to me is an art, and it's a way that I use to express myself and to connect with other people, and it's a confidence boost. So as a team, we've worked on so many brides, and we get to understand what they want. We know what you want as a bride, and that experience with working with so many brands has given us the confidence to work on so many different faces and to achieve what the bride wants. Okay, with this we advise some of the do's and don'ts. The do's is drink enough water before the D-Day. Another thing, apply sunscreen. Get a very nice sunscreen. Another thing is maintain a good skincare routine, a hydrating skincare routine, which is going to make your makeup look airbrushed, flawless on that big day. For the don'ts, don't introduce a new skincare product just a few days before your D-Day. You should have like a consistent skincare routine like 6 months before your D-Day. Another thing for the do's, that's why a bridal trial is very important, so that you can be able to communicate what you want to the makeup artist, so that on your D-Day, you do not have to go back and forth, and that will ease the pressure.